Hello, today I'm going to be reviewing this FoodSaver Vacuum Sealer. We've had this for just about 2 years now, so I'll go over the pros and cons of that as well as any secret tips that I've learned along the way. My wife is going to be helping me with this too. And so we have this meat here. We bought the meat in bulk and you can see we ate a portion of that. We made a soup. And so now we need to vacuum seal this so we can put it in the freezer and store it. And one thing that you want to do is you want to portion the food in the amount that you're going to eat. So if it's just one person, you're probably not going to put a bunch in. If you have a family, you're going to put a little bit more in. And if you're going to do a party, maybe this is acceptable to put in, right? So think about what you're going to end up cooking, and then put that much in the bag at a time. Now we have two different kinds of bags, and so we're going to demonstrate both because this is at least 2 portions for us. So this first type of bag here is a zip seal bag. So it has this little zipper top at the top, and then it's closed at the bottom. And then what happens is it's going to use this side of the vacuum sealer. You have this little hand vacuum here that you put on the little symbol. We'll show that in a second. Now, all right, so she's got the meat portioned off. She's going to pull out some of the excess air, zip it up. If you pull out some of the excess air beforehand, it just makes it so that the vacuum sealer doesn't have to do as much work, right? Because it doesn't take you that long to do it yourself. So save the machine, let it live longer. First con I want to point out with this is the cord length is really short. So that's about as long as we have. That's about 2 feet. So you have to use this in pretty close proximity to an outlet. So what she's done, this is now, the food's in, there's the little vacuum sealer, so it has a little thing. And the cable is also kind of short. It's only about another 2 feet. One thing I want to point out here is when you're using the vacuum sealer, you want to lay it such that you have counter space in front of it. And so that way you can place the food in front of it. And this works for both types of bags. So what she's doing is we've plugged it in, the light went on. This side has the vacuum, so we're just gonna change the mode to vacuum. Okay, and so you see it is kind of loud. That's why I kind of stopped talking. It pulled the air out of there. It's nice and tight. And then it stopped on its own. Now to retract this, you have to pull it out a little bit. So it's kind of like a car seat belt. It's not necessarily a con, just slightly annoying. And so now this is ready to go into the freezer. There is another option here, which is marinade. And we don't really use that, but I guess if you were going to spice some meat or put some marinade or something like that in the bag, then you could do that first. And that's when those zip top bags work. Now this is the second kind of bags. This is a roll of bags here, and we've pre-sealed this bag. This is kind of the last step that you do because this is open, right? This whole roll is open at the bottom at one end, so you want to vacuum seal this before you pull it out. We'll show you that at the end. So we've pulled out the length of bag that we want, and then you just close this on it. There's a little lock here on the side. You twist that into the up lock position, and then here is the little scissor cutter that will cut the bag. So now we have the length of bag that we want, and this is open at the top. So she's going to start filling that with the meat again. And one thing I want to point out with this blade over here is it does have a safety guard on it right here. So you probably could cut yourself, but it would take some effort to do so, which is really nice. I still don't recommend letting kids get around here and using it, just because obviously it's a knife, right? The nice thing about this too is this locking mechanism prevents you from turning on the vacuum sealer if it's not locked. So it's like you can't accidentally turn it on. Also, these rolls are really nice because you could see it has a nice little cardboard tube, just like paper towels or anything like that, so it rolls off really easily. Okay, so now we have the meat in the bag, and you want to keep the meat at the bottom near the last seal. And then similar thing, get some of the excess air out, and then make sure you line up the end in this little green section. Leave a little bit excess, so if you can see here, there's a little bit of excess bag here. That'll just allow for the machine to have enough room to actually seal. So she's gonna close it on it and then lock it. Over here you have a couple of different options. You can change through it with the mode button. You can do dry, moist, pulse, or sous vide. We don't really use any of the options other than other than moist. And so that's what we're gonna do because the meat is kind of moist. Once you have it on the mode, you just click the button vacuum. Okay, and so this seals automatically, and so that's why it's flashing. So this did the vacuum, it did the seal, and so now you're good to go. So this sealing process, you saw it was flashing there for a second, now it's done. So we'll just unlock it, open it up, and then there you go. So this is why we left the excess, just because you want to make sure there's plenty of room that it can do its whatever its magic is. So this is again sealed. It's very nice, and so you know, like I said, there are two kinds of bags. That's kind of a pro in that you have the option for whether you want to just vacuum it or if you want to maybe marinate it, do something like that. Okay, and so the last part here, I mentioned this bag is still open at the end, and so we need to seal the bottom so that it's ready to go for next time. So we'll just pull it down to the end, close it, lock it, we put it back on moist and hit seal. And so all that's gonna do is create that little seal that we saw in the other bags. You can see it's just flashing. It doesn't take a long time. It's pretty obvious. That's one nice thing about this is it's so easy to use. As you can tell, this is stainless steel, and so kind of a con is that you're gonna get these stains on here. I mean, it's not something that you're gonna have out in front of like people at parties and stuff like that, so it's not a big deal. Just something that you'll see privately to yourself. All right, so the bag is sealed and it's ready for the next time. We'll just roll it up and then it's good to go. We'll probably do the next ones here as we go. And then the last thing to note is just the size. This isn't very heavy. It's very flush with the bottom, and so it's kind of hard to grab with just one hand, but it is pretty light. I could say maybe like 10 pounds. It's not super heavy. You can lift it with one hand obviously, but it is kind of big. So you need to have this space dedicated to it, and because if it's at this angle, it's not like you can stack something on top of it like the microwave, right? It's not flat, so this has to have a dedicated space for it. So anyways, that's about all we have to say on this. I hope it was useful, and thank you for watching.